Hey, welcome back to the channel, guys. We're going to be checking out part 5 of the first time you realized America really messed you up. TikTok compilation videos. There's 6 parts of this total. So links down below so you can go click like on it. And the original channel is TikTok Reacts that is hosting this. So thanks for watching with me, guys. Let's check it out. These are always good. They're funny.
Time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
I have so many of these. So I currently live in London with my now husband, and when we were dating and I would come visit him because we were doing the whole long distance thing,
Okay.
every time I would come, I would lose at least 5 pounds. Without a doubt, it happened every single time. And I truly think it's just because the food over here is required to be better for you. Because I was not watching what I ate. We would eat desserts all the time. We were doing the touristy things, so we eat out a lot. And on top of that, I don't exercise when I'm over here, and I also am not walking around because I use my wheelchair. So yeah, it's literally just because there's better food laws here in the United Kingdom instead of in the United States.
So that's interesting because a lot of people do say, because it's like a lot of people say like, well, I'm eating more because I'm on vacation, right? I'm trying all these new foods. So I'm eating more than I would, back home in America and still losing weight. And a lot of people's counter argument is which of course, clearly there's no disagreement. We all know the food in Europe is better, right? Great Britain, for instance, in her case. But a lot of people say, well, but you are eating more, even if it's better, this and that, you're not losing weight just because of the food. They say, oh, but because you're walking around doing all these touristy things, you're exercising more than normal. She's not. She's in a wheelchair. So literally the only difference for her is the actual food. And she's eating more because she's going to touristy places and stuff like that, trying all these different foods. So that really does go to show you, like, the actual difference in food quality. Interesting. That's why I like watching these videos, guys.
So there you go. That's my story.
That's her story.
So we live in Ireland, and our oldest is in senior infants, which is the equivalent of the second half of kindergarten. She did kindergarten back in the States. And she came home from school one day, and she said, Mommy, we had a drill today. And I went, oh, active shooter drill? No. Bomb threat? No. Mommy, it was a fire drill. Well, oh, okay. I mean, back home, she had active shooter drills every month in kindergarten. We get these phone calls, and it'd say, oh, in accordance with Florida law, blah, 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 everything's gone back to normal. And I'm just sitting there thinking of my kid hiding in a bathroom with 30 other kindergartners and her poor teacher trying to keep all these kids quiet. I'm like, that's not normal here. That's something we got used to because that's what America is.
Yeah,
it's just one big active shooter drill.
It's sad. My son's actually in kindergarten. He was actually, he loves coming home telling us everything. He's proud of what he done today at school, this and that. He was proud that, and he's only been there a handful of, maybe a month, Super, super excited to come home and tell us that he did his first fire drill, that he learned what to do if there was a fire. It was just awesome. He hasn't had no active shooter drill or anything like that I know of. But, yeah.
Hey y'all, I am an American expat currently living in Kuwait. It is one of the countries in the Middle East region.
It's a desert out there.
Living here, I had to overcome a lot of trauma from my home country. As you can see, I am black. And being black in America, you're usually followed around stores to make sure you're not stealing. No one offers you help. No one offers you guidance. They just try to make sure you're not stealing because clearly that's what all black people do. Here, people...
It's because there's a lot of racist people in this country. Yeah, you don't have to worry about the racism so much in other places. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not there. Of course, you're going to have that. But I don't think it's quite as intense as it is here in the United States.
People follow you around the stores. However, it's because of the luxury of it all. I mean, they're following you around the stores holding your carts. They're placing things on the shelf. They're helping you get items. They're helping you try on things.
Nice.
And that was one of the traumas I had to overcome living here, that they don't think I'm a criminal. They just want me to be an actual customer.
Nice. Well, maybe you're
So
not. I mean, you're just a regular person. There's no reason for people to just assume that you are a criminal just because of your skin color. That is absolutely racist. But again, like I said, not everybody's like that here. You know, it's just certain people are racist, certain people have that attitude towards a black person when they go in the store, and it just sucks. It is an unfortunate thing that happens.
I was in Tallinn, Estonia, and I had like this really bad feeling in my chest.
She
I
was
was in
where? Hold
Tallinn.
on.
Me to be an actual customer.
Oh, I got this one. So, I was in Tallinn, Estonia,
Tallinn.
and I
Okay.
had like this really bad feeling in my chest. I felt terrible, and I thought I was having a panic attack, but I wasn't totally sure. So,
Okay.
I went downstairs to the front desk. The hospital called an ambulance. The ambulance came. They did a bunch of tests, gave me some medicine, calmed me down, and did a whole bunch of stuff. It was all done in the ambulance, and then when we were done, they gave me some medicine to go, and they were like, "Okay, go rest." And then I was like, "Okay, but what do I owe you? Like, I live in Finland. What do I owe you?" And they were like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Well, how do I pay for this?" And they were
Finland.
like, "Oh."
I thought she said she was in Estonia. Okay, so she's an American that lives in Finland, then traveled to Estonia and was getting sick in Estonia, I believe. Okay, and her eyes are all over the place. I don't know what's up with her eyes, but they just seem like they're moving more than they should or something. I don't know.
Like, "Oh no, this is free." And I was like, "What?" And they were like, "Yeah, no, this is free. Don't worry." And then I felt really guilty for everything.
Maybe it's a medical thing. You know, she said she wasn't feeling very well and this and that. It could be like a. I know certain head traumas or like brain issues could cause like your eyes to kind of move sporadically like that. I don't really know, but it just seemed like her eyes were all over the place. And also, I've heard that like the free health stuff was maybe it's because is it all part of the European Union? Maybe that's I don't know. I thought it was every individual country was different and only citizens got the free healthcare, but it wasn't really free. It's factored in with the taxes and everything that you actually pay. So I don't know about that one. Let me know.
9 months before I moved to Ireland, I was there on a vacation, and the person I was with, we had a car. And we stayed at a golf resort kind of in the middle of nowhere because it was the off season, so it was actually really affordable. There was a gated front entrance to this golf resort, and there was a small little village on the other side of it. And because we were pretty far back on the property and it was January, so the weather was kind of crappy, we often would drive if we needed to run to the store for anything or to a restaurant. We became friends with the front gate attendant because we were in and out all the time. So one day we're driving to go to dinner, and I had asked him, "Hey, what's the legal limit for like drinking and driving here?" I wasn't planning to do anything stupid, but I'm also a public health major, and knowing that Ireland is known for its drinking culture, I was curious, so I thought I'd ask.
Okay.
The guy looked at me completely dumbfounded. He's like, "What?" So I clarified the amount of alcohol you can have in your system and still legally drive. And he says, "None?"
So my mother was
Makes sense. You shouldn't have anything in your system and drive, right? Like that makes sense. She was probably assuming because a bunch of Irish people have it's stereotypical that they drink a lot that they're just out there drinking and driving. But no, some people have common sense.
Still legally drive. And he says, "None?"
So my mother was a registered nurse. She was working at two separate hospitals. Both of those positions were full-time. She was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. She had 3 children and had to work those 2 full-time jobs for several years because she needed the health benefits because she couldn't afford her chemotherapy. So while she was going through chemo, radiation, all kinds of other treatments, because her cancer was pretty advanced and there were still some clinical trials for things. So while she's going through all of that, she still had to work about 72 hours each week.
That sucks.
We moved to Canada shortly after she passed away, and after my father was left with over $50,000 of medical bills, and moved to Canada. Everything's free. Healthcare, just free. They just
It's included.
give it to you to live.
It's included with your taxes, I believe. Yeah. And that's why a lot of times, you know, it's like that's the kind of stuff that I want for this country, and that's the kind of stuff that's like more of like a left-leaning idea. But again, you know, I want to let everybody know I'm not like I don't know, you know, what I'm not one way, the other way, this and that. You know, there's ideas from both sides that I like. So I don't know, whatever that is. Maybe I should just be my own political party. How about that?
Okay, so I live in England now, but I do this thing where every time I enter a building, I like analyze like, okay, if someone comes in with a gun, where can I hide? Where can I run? What are my emergency exits? What are my chances of getting shot?
Every
So I
time.
think, okay, if he enters through this door, I'm probably gonna get shot. If he enters through that door, I probably won't get shot because of the angle, and I try to like, work it out all in my head.
That's crazy that people act. I mean, I guess if you've been conditioned that way, if you've lived in big cities that have that kind of violence. I live in a pretty rural area. I don't have to worry about all the shootings, gun violence, stuff like that. So I guess if I lived in a city that dealt with that, maybe, but I still don't think that I would go in every single public situation and instantly be thinking like that. Like I have a pretty good, like I can think on my feet. So if something happened in the moment, I feel like I could figure out what to do, but I'm not going to pre-plan what I'm doing ahead of time just in case there might be like a shooter around. That just seems a little paranoid. But again, maybe this person's from an area like, Chicago or New York that has a lot of shootings. It's hard to tell.
And so one time I was on a date with this guy and we were at a bar and I was kind of like looking around like, okay, like maybe I can hide here, maybe I can hide here, just kind of like analyzing the area. And
But also with the person being gay, there's also that extra layer of fear because there's a lot of crazy psychos out there that actively go out and try to attack, people that's gay and stuff because of their beliefs being different, you know what I mean? So I guess, being a person that's gay and maybe being from a city where there's already gun crime and stuff, maybe there's a lot of gun crime towards the gay people. So maybe he's got that extra layer of fear to worry about as well that you wouldn't have to necessarily worry about I believe he said he's in the UK, right? I don't know for sure, but yeah.
yeah, and he's like, why are you looking around? Like, you look crazy. You're drawing attention to us. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I was going to say, oh, I'm just looking for an emergency exit or place to hide in case someone comes in with a gun.
Right.
And then I realized gun crime isn't really a thing here. So, yeah.
I think he said he was in the UK. So over there, mainly you got to worry about somebody like stabbing you, I think. So I think that's like the main thing that they have issues with there. I don't know for sure. I don't really follow the UK news or whatever, but
Such a great question. I have so many.
so many.
The one that sticks out of my mind right now is the first time I celebrated the 4th of July and the Kiwis were like, oh, happy 4th of July. And I'm like, yeah, suckers. We broke away from the Queen a long time ago and we have freedom and blah, blah, blah. And they were like, hold on.
Everybody has freedom. Everybody
What
has
freedoms
freedom.
don't we have?
Yep,
And why
yep.
is it bad that other countries work together to protect each other and help each other? And America's always talking about freedom and what freedoms do you have that we don't have? And I was like, hold up. All this rhetoric that I was told my whole life, the land of the free, we need to fight.
Exactly. Rhetoric. It's propaganda. Rhetoric is it? Yeah, I don't know.
Fight for our freedom, and it's such a value in the American society. And when you think about how many countries are just as free, where does this freedom value come from?
Yep.
I mean, it came back from the Revolutionary War, but hello, there's a lot of countries that are free. It was eye-opening.
Propaganda.
So I'm an American who's currently living in Canada, and in 2019, I was working
Canada's technically still America, right? Like it's part of North America, but still.
on a film set, and we were breaking for lunch, and I promise this isn't a joke setup, but it was an American, a Canadian, a New Zealander, and an Australian were all waiting and having lunch together.
It straight up sounds like she's about to tell a joke. But right?
together, and a truck backfires. Thinking it was a gunshot, I immediately hop underneath the table and like am looking around before I realize what it was.
Yeah.
And as I slowly get up, everybody's like, "What? Why is she?" And the Australian goes, "You're an American. That's right."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in about 2012, 2013.
A lot of Americans, when they travel abroad, They tell people they're from Canada because Canadians get less hate. She should have, yeah. But see, then again, if you tell people you're Canadian, then you turn around and act like that, then they're like, oh, you're lying. You're really from America, which I guess Canada's technically part of America, North America continent, but
13, I lived in the Netherlands and I was learning Dutch.
So
when
I
watched
watched
the news with
when she was, hold on, since she was 13, is that what she said?
Yeah. So in about 2012, 2013, I lived in the Netherlands and I was learning Dutch. So when I watched the news with the Dutch subtitles, my host mom would explain to me what was going on. And I saw this priest and apparently he had been stabbed. And I'm like, oh, why is he on the news? He's been stabbed, but he's still alive. And she was talking about, how it was a big thing because priests don't typically get stabbed, blah, blah, blah. But I'm still wondering, what's the big deal? And then she's like, well, Sarah, you're from America, you have guns. And I'm like, well, yeah, we have guns. And she's like, well, over here we don't have guns. So this is big news because this guy was stabbed. And I'm still sitting there like he's still alive. And that's when I realized we're a bit up.
She's half drunk.
Because I was questioning why a priest being stabbed was news.
If he was dead, how would he be on the news?
I wasn't drunk at the time, but good point.
Okay, so I came up to Ontario a few years ago for school after already getting...
I guess I see her point because there's so much crazy that happens here. It's like normally it's always somebody that died. So normally I guess they don't waste the airwaves on somebody that didn't because there's so many people that did that they're talking about, I guess. I don't know for sure. I don't know.
Already getting my bachelor's in the States. And me and my office mate were sitting there going through our bills because they had just come out and our research fellowships are being applied. And I was like, oh, look, wow, this is really cheap. And she looks at me and she's like, what are you talking about? Especially yours. Yours is several grand more than mine just because you're international. I was so used to paying so much for university in the States that I thought Canadian tuition was cheap.
Compared
when
to...
really it's not. So, yeah.
So it's expensive, but compared to where she's from in the United States, of course, it seemed cheaper. But it's still expensive in the world scale.
Yeah. Thanks, America.
Okay, so I've got this one. So I went to South India in 2013 for a school trip, and we all ate at a restaurant, and most of us got food.
So I was watching Who Was the Mole? Don't spoil. I'm not all the way through, but the last season, I'm like 5 episodes in probably. She looks like one of the Dutch girls that's on the Who Is the Mole. It's not. She's obviously not her, but looks very similar. If you know who I'm talking about, let me know who. Let me know down below. Let us all know. But yeah, if you agree, disagree, whatever.
Got food poisoning and ended up getting really, really sick. Couldn't keep anything down. Vomiting, diarrhea, the whole works. There were 2 of us, me and another kid, that were really not doing hot. We were getting really dehydrated, and so they ended up sending us to a hospital. We took a tuk-tuk and went to the emergency room. I ended up getting 2 IV bags and spending a few hours there. And at the end, when they told me how much it was going to be when I left, they told me $9. Being American, I was like, hold up. Did he mean 900, 9,000?
Yeah, they would probably charge you $900 here. She's not joking. For a couple IV bags, and you sat there for an hour or two, talked to the nurse, filled out a little thing on a clipboard. Yeah, I don't know why. I never understood it. It's insane to me. Absolutely insane to me. But they would absolutely charge $900 for that here. It's craziness. Pure craziness.
9,000, right? No, $9.
That's
$9
crazy.
for medication, IV, emergency, everything.
Yeah, that's crazy. And that is the conclusion of the video. You guys are amazing. You're awesome. So of course you're going to hit like and subscribe on the video. Have a super fun awesome day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye.